Hi there, I'm Paul Russell Garrett, and today I'm going to be reading from Vivian by the Danish author Christina Hesselholdt, which was published by Fitzcarraldo Editions in 2019. I'll be reading from the start of the book. Narrator. That's me clattering about when I lift the lid to see if the characters have come to the boil. One fine day, the fourth Thursday of November 1929, before the family had been separated, the turkey had just come out of the oven and was resting on the kitchen counter. Maria, who was from the country and could make herself sound like a turkey when she wanted to, made a gobbling sound over the turkey to amuse her husband Charles and her daughter Vivian and her son Charles, also known as Carl, and perhaps also her in-laws who had arrived with Carl because he lived with them, and the ludicrousness of the turkey increased with each impression. They were immigrants, and the observance of all that this festive occasion dictated, from cranberry sauce to pumpkin pie, was a way of clinging to America. For them, that big turkey was America. That day there was a knock at the front door of the Maier household. It was Julius Hauser, the short and normally so meticulous brother of Vivian's paternal grandmother, a man who was in the habit of bringing his slippers with him in a paper bag to guard against the cold floors, but for whom things had obviously gone awry. "Fill the tub!" Charles Maier shouted to his wife, Maria Josseau Maier. Josseau, her French maiden name, had from the time she got married functioned as a middle name, and now stood shuddering after advancing to the front ranks. "You're not setting foot in the living room till you're clean, Hauser," Charles said to Julius. Vivian could see that her father didn't want to touch him, and searched for a clean spot on his jacket where he could take hold, but there was no clean spot, and with a look of disgust, upper lip drawn back towards the nose as his mouth stretched, he grabbed Hauser's soiled collar with 2 fingers, soiled with vomit and dirt from the sidewalk onto which he had keeled over in his drunken state and likely spent the night. It was a miracle he wasn't hurt, and dragged him toward the kitchen where Vivian's mother was boiling some water. They shut the kitchen door, but after a little while, Vivian eased the door handle down and pushed the door open a crack. She saw Julius sitting in the zinc bathtub, her father scrubbing his back, her mother washing his clothes in a pot on the stove as a stray sleeve attempted a wave was forced back down. The kitchen was steamy and smelled of boiled intestines, and Julius's face and upper body had a reddish tint. Vivian knew that he was, or had been, a butcher at a hotel. Maybe that just meant he was the one responsible for the meat, but she didn't think about that. She was only 3 years old. And that's why she didn't like him. She could have sworn that only her one eye was visible through the crack, the one eye that she forced to keep watching and watching as Julius was scrubbed in the large tub. But Julius Hauser suddenly saw that eye through the crack and shouted, "Do come in, my little girl," at which point her mother turned away from the stove with the dripping spoon, and her father whacked Hauser over the head with the bath brush, shouting at him in German, calling him a scoundrel. When Charles Maier struck him with the brush a second time, Hauser stood up in the tub and nearly slipped, grasping at thin air in the cramped kitchen, and precisely how it happened nobody managed to see, but the turkey fell into the tub with him. "Do you need scrubbing too?" he shouted, and forced the large golden crown down between his legs. And here you are invited to picture the scene in that Fellini film, I can't remember what it's called, where a group of boys catch a group of chickens and then screw them, or pretend to screw them, each boy with a flapping chicken pressed against the groin. And the flapping wings look like propellers that drive the boys' bodies forward. But then Charles hit him again, and he drew the turkey from the depths and handed it to Maria. She stood at the ready with a towel and accepted it like a child emerging from the waves that had to be toweled down, as all disdain gave way to solicitude, the thought of the Great Depression ever present. It was a colossally expensive turkey. Thanks, everyone.